Thanks for joining me today. Sean here on a quiet little Sunday. We got a beautiful view that is going to be overexposed for you. You're not going to be able to see it there, but it's just a freezing cold winter day here. It's 5 degrees outside. I thought I'd finally get around to filming this reaction video to the one person who ever acknowledged my existence. SpookyFairyVR is the YouTube name. 994 views with 5 thumbs up is what we're looking at for the Bermeo Heights Express, mood lifting, scenic, and relaxing VR train ride sim for Meta Quest 2. So I left him some comments. I said, thanks for the review. I'm glad you enjoyed it. And you did truly understand the experience design. Don't forget to look for hidden viewpoints. It's possible to ride in the conductor's position or at the front of the train. So I was giving him some hints there about how he can appreciate it even more. So what the hell is this? What is Bermeo Heights? Way before AI technology came on the scene, I'm talking 2013, 2014, 2015, VR was having its comeback, and I was super interested in VR when I was like a little kid. And I was waiting like 30 years for VR to finally be realized. So I was in like my early 30s when the dream came true. I was waiting for decades for VR. And so I wanted to make my first VR app. VR was not good at this time. We're talking 2015, 2016, 2017. Only the very AAA studios were producing something that was like very professional, and the indie scene, everything was rough. Nobody was figuring out standards for like even the simplest things, like what's the best way to do locomotion? How should your hands be represented? How should things react when you reach out and grab them in VR? Like many things are much more established, like standards now of how to standard operating procedure for VR apps. But at this time, it was still the Wild West. And since I've been into VR for so long, since like the early 90s, I felt as if I had an advantage of like intuitively understanding like what makes a comfortable VR experience design, what makes a cohesive VR experience, from how should objects interact when you pick them up, to the locomotion device. I mean, the way that I thought of this, when I saw Oculus Dev Kit version 1 in 2013, and then I tried VR myself around that time, 13, 14, 15, what I saw that was coming was that there was going to be a full ecosystem of VR. This is what I thought at the time. I thought there would be VR on your phone, VR on your web browser, desktop, full gaming VR, mobile VR headsets. And we did see that happen. Like a VR ecosystem does exist, but it is still to this day, all these years later, 10 years after I began working on stuff that led to this app, it still hasn't become a mainstream ecosystem. Like it is still a niche thing. Like your parents are not using VR, your grandparents are not using VR. I don't see a reason why they shouldn't. It's just we haven't crossed that threshold yet. Like technology's been too active of a space in these years, moving on already to the advances of AI. Like all the air has been sucked out of the room that was going into VR technology efforts, and everybody in tech is going into AI because that's just like clearly the thing. So the concept is mine. The art direction was me giving most of the input. The development was me. The production was me. The packaging, like all that stuff. I did work with a 3D artist. I wouldn't have been able to do this. There was no, the asset store, it's rough there. It's hard to find what you're after. And I didn't want to take months to learn Blender and all the tools. The artist is called Polygonal Mind, and he's got his own studio in Spain now, 3D art studio, because at this time it was a very frontier thing. And if you had a portfolio piece that you've already done VR, you're already ahead of like most people if you've published something. So that was both of our motivations. So we both worked without pay, and we never made money off this app, unfortunately. But thank you so much to Daniel. it doesn't do it justice to experiencing being in the headset. And this has been a problem with VR trailers and VR media since day one. Is if you're really experienced with VR, you can kind of imagine what watching the video looks like inside the headset. But if you're not familiar with VR, you can't comprehend even what you're seeing off the video. Like, it's an immersive environment. Like, you need to stand in the environment, like just as real as the camera on the tripod there and this view out my window. Like, all this is creating this environment, and like you can't experience that through a video. It's one of the few times in my life where like a complete stranger on probably the other side of the world has taken time out of their day to appreciate and share with other people something that I made and poured like so much creativity into, just completely organically, like on the organic magic of the internet. Like, that happened on its own. You know, I've done dozens of games and websites and just creative projects, and 99% of them just get zero acknowledgement. They get like 3 likes on whatever the social media post, and like one direct message like, "Oh, that was cool, man," or something. That's like what I'm used to, and I've just been creating projects my whole life. And so like, just the fact that one person in the world took their time to put this together and reflect on what I did, that it's just extremely personally rewarding. That's like the last stage of the creative cycle. It's like you go through a full creative cycle, and the last stage is sharing it and then feedback. And I usually don't get that feedback stage. Like, everybody's just doom scrolling their feeds. Nobody's going to take time to listen to your music, to play your game, to go try your website, just like nobody gives a fuck. So just getting that feedback stage, somebody liked this, is very personally rewarding. So thank you, SpookyFairyVR. I'm just going to react to his reaction as the creator.
For you, I'm going to review Bermeo Height Express. This is a train scene. Basically, it's a scenic train scene, and I really loved scenic trains. I'm going to share with you more in a moment. And you're going to ride in a procedurally generated low-poly style environment inspired by the beautiful countrysides of northern Spain's Basque Country, and it's beautiful.
Thank you for saying it's beautiful. So he was more or less just reading the marketing description I have. So the artist was from Spain and the Basque Country. He was trying to think of just like mountainous valley, like scenic, like where would this take place if it was in his country. So he was talking about the Basque Country, and then I contributed kind of the Pacific Northwest is where I was from. And so we get these evergreen trees. And so we synthesized, the landscape was supposed to be a synthesis of Basque Country, Spain, the stony mountainous stuff, and the Pacific Northwest with these pine forests. And it's supposed to be a fictional place. Bermeo is a word that it's a region that does exist around Spain, kind of in the region that this was inspired from, but it's not supposed to be modeled after a real place. Like, Bermeo Heights is supposed to be a frame of mind. It's not supposed to be a real place, so it's just inspired by these places.
Switzerland.
So then he goes on to just, in the interest of time, we'll skip past this, but he just says how he loves train rides and he finds them so relaxing. He loves to look out the window, and that's already something he loved enjoying anyways. And so he's the perfect candidate for enjoying my app. And this footage that he shares, I can tell like the shape of these mountains and the shape and color of these buildings, it echoes the art style that you travel through in my VR app. It's like a much simplified low poly version of the same kind of feel. So it is really similar to this footage that he's sharing. So thanks for that footage. I'll just skip ahead a little.
When there's a threat to the game, and it's absolutely amazing. This is a low poly, so don't expect realistic graphics. You can listen to music, you can just change places, watch through the window. You can even go back to the back of the car and just watch everything from there. Oh, I can switch positions.
This was designed for the very lowest end VR, the Oculus Go. Basically, when that came out, I was like, okay, so there's clearly like a toehold. There's like investment being made into VR now, and this is going to be the first accessible headset that like everybody is going to want to get. That's what I thought. And so the whole design of this, the low fidelity graphics and everything, the design was how do you get the most out of the least amount of power. And so people were new to VR at this time. Like I said, there wasn't like, here's the official Oculus like locomotion package, and this is how you teleport around. Like none of that stuff even existed yet. Like in Unity, like everybody was doing it themselves. So I decided that to reach the widest audience with locomotion controls, a big complaint that people have about sickness in VR, it's all around locomotion. And there's a lot of tricks. And for one example, if you just put something around somebody, so instead of like if you're up in a hot air balloon, instead of just rendering the open sky, if you render the hot air balloon like ropes coming down around the first person point of view, that tends to make people feel less VR sick, because it feels like you're riding something instead of you being like disembodied. And so this experience was supposed to be designed from the ground up for comfort, enjoyability, and broad appeal. Like I wanted your grandparents to be able to figure out how to teleport. I didn't want a complicated teleportation movement and recentering system. So all you do is there's like wireframes, low poly like stylized wireframes of a gender neutral mannequin, and they just light up as you go across them. So they're like not so opaque enough to take away from your appreciating of the scene, but they're not so opaque that you can't find them. Like if you just look, you can see them, and then they'll become more opaque as you hover over. I wanted to set up like, I guess you call them like relaxation zones. Like, okay, maybe you want to lie down on this booth, or maybe you want to sit down on that chair, or maybe you want to sit by the radio, maybe you want to fiddle with the radio. Like it like it's a bit of a sandbox experience, but it's like it's a sandbox literally on rails, like literally on rails. So I'm just creating these preset kind of nodes where a lot of thought went into how people would interact at each node and point. And so in that way, it's very constrained. Every node is really constrained. Like I thought about every position you could get to in the world. So he's just figuring that out, which is what I wanted people to discover.
Oh! Oh!
That's interesting that he immediately went to the back door, because I halfway hid that teleportation node so that only people that were really paying attention would be able to see it. And it's funny that was the very first thing he did, turning on the game. He's like, oh, I can teleport. Oh, I'm on the back deck. And in my mind, when I was designing it, it's like, oh, people will end up here after they like explore the radio, explore the different points of view, like look at the whole train cabin, and then they'll end up on the deck. Like that's what I thought the whole time. And it shows you how valuable play testing is and feedback. Like the guy just went straight to the back deck, but it's good that he's enjoying it.
Oh my god, it's beautiful! Why? What happens to me lately? I'm just addicted to this type of experiences.
Now it's awesome to hear. He's like, I just love these type of experiences. And that's where I'm coming from in VR too. Like that's what motivated the way that I created this game. People are quick to lump VR as like games, like, oh, that's for gamers and it's like game technology. But I've always had the point of view that VR doesn't have to do with games at all. Like I worked for a metaverse company. We made metaverse VR meetings like in the web browser, and nothing about it had to do, it's not very gamey. It's just it's like a replacement for Slack that could optionally be in VR. Like no other technology we have in existence can share as high of a resolution of a full experience. So we can share high resolution audio recordings, we can share HD videos, a lot of things. The technology is pretty good, but if you want an experience right here in a little ball, this is like an experience that you want somebody to have. Like VR is the number one technology to this day at sharing full on experiences. And so that was the proof. That was the point of this app. It's not supposed to be a game. It's not supposed to be a meditation app. It's supposed to be an experience. Like that is the whole point. You're supposed to take it off and go, wow, that was an experience, man. And we can see right here that immediately landed, like he got it. He stepped out on the deck and he just goes, wow.
Addicted to this type of experiences.
But not everybody gets it. Like not everyone appreciates it.
Or like ride on a train backwards.
He's like, I always wanted to ride on a train backwards. So if you've never done VR, the way to picture this is when he's looking up, like picture actually tilting your neck up yourself, like at the same angle like this. So he's physically looking up at the top of the trees. If you've never done VR, that's how you have to imagine it when you watch video footage of people using it.
So it's super relaxing, it's so much fun, and it brings all those memories. And I always enjoy riding trains, and it doesn't change that it's in VR.
Yep.
And I have to admit that it took
Exactly. So did you hear what he said? He said, I always enjoyed riding trains, and then it turns out it doesn't matter whether that train rides in VR or not. And I appreciate that so much because like literally that was my idea of building this. Is I was not trying to capture any particular way the train works or anything specific about the scenery. Like the point I was trying to capture is what is that experience that's going on in real life when you ride a train through a scenic countryside and you can pass like an entire hour just staring out the window and like your mind like wanders. Like that's an actual experience. Like what is going on in that experience, and can I recreate just that experience? Can I induce that experience? Like that was the whole point. And like any comment I ever got about this app or any play review or anything like that, nobody came through and like nailed that except for this review. Like he exactly said it. He's just like, yeah,
time to learn to appreciate.
I love it, and it doesn't matter that it's in VR.
You always wanted to do that, ride on a train backwards.
So he got it. He fully got it. It means I succeeded. To one person, I succeeded. Get a good pause for it.
So it's super relaxing.
That wasn't an accident either. That it's super relaxing. Because I researched like essentially every like free low end, shitty like Google Cardboard and like Oculus demos of like the 2015 era. I played like every single one of them that exists, and I was like mentally taking notes about like what worked and what didn't work. And what always was the deal breaker in all these little VR apps is the developers have no sense of, I just want to call it chill, no sense of chill. Like I just picture that they were developed by like a 19-year-old boy somewhere who's been playing like Call of Duty all day and it's all explosions, and you get in their VR experience and it would otherwise be really nice, but then there's like incredibly vibe killing aspects to it, like some really terrible sound design where it would have been an immersive environment, and then some terrible sound design just like takes you out of the experience and you're like hearing how terrible a noise is, or just like a terrible use of a texture where you just walk up to something and it's all just like pixels and it takes you out of the VR-ness of it, or the locomotion's really uncomfortable, and so what otherwise would have been a good experience, it's ruined because the locomotion's slightly off and makes you feel sick. And what was so crazy is at this time, like almost every app had some big flaw like that, where it's just like, wow, this would have been really sick, but they like blew it by putting in this explosion noise here that ruins it or something. So it's not an accident that this is so relaxing. Like from ground up of the experience, it was like auditing every step of what I was doing. The sound design, does that feel good? The shading, does that feel good? Is there any pixels showing up? Like you'll know, like there's no pixelation in this game. Everything's either crystal clear or it's like cartoony. Like I call it like a watercolor, kind of like a paintbrush effect. it looks fictional, but when you're inside of it, that doesn't matter for the immersion. Like it doesn't matter that you're in like a Simpsons like flat shaded world, because when you're in VR, you're actually there. And on video, you just think, oh wow, that looks like some graphics from like Nintendo 64. Like that looks like bullshit. Like why would I want to try that? But that's the problem with video; it doesn't communicate it. So yeah, every single little aspect, it was about make this feel natural and relaxing and give just enough to give the sense of sandbox, but the sandbox is literally on the rails, literally a train on the rails. And like you can pick up and throw these pieces of fruit, and you can like play a little game. You can try to like toss the fruit into the bowl. So I tried to accommodate different like play styles. Like your grandma can just sit there in front of the radio and look out the window for the entire, that can be the whole app. Someone else can chaotically wander around and throw the fruit and do that if that's their play style. So accounting for many play styles is what I was going for.
It's so much fun and it brings all those memories, and I always enjoy riding trains and it doesn't change. I think that I personally want to experience this kind of a free movement and not just teleportation. I want to feel like I'm there. I want it to feel higher sense of presence.
Uh, yeah, I take that feedback. I appreciate that feedback. Except the one thing is, I wish it was free mode. I want to just go everywhere. I don't want to be limited by the locations. And I agree. I feel that. But if you're trying this on Quest, if you can get in a big open room like I am now, I know that's a luxury. I know a lot of people don't have open space where they live, but it actually does allow for free roam, and it was designed for that. But it's designed for, rather than the joystick to move you, like you can access every inch of this train. You just need a room that's like 15 by 15 feet across, and it was designed to do that. So I know nobody's going to think to do this, but if you recenter your view when you're at one extreme edge of your room area, and then you walk towards the other open end of your room, you can reach every inch of this train. And I even left, there's some hidden viewpoints. Like, for example, you can get into the next train car over, like where my mouse cursor is, through this wall. Like, there's not an actual teleport there, but there's a hidden, you can align your room in such a way where you recenter your view from sitting in this back bench, and then you can walk physically through your house. You can walk through this wall and back into this other train car. And there's a lot of situations like that. Like I've played this app before where I walked like 10 feet out of the train, and I was like hovering in VR. I was like hovering 10 feet out the window here, looking back at the train. And I was just like sitting in an office chair in real life. So it is, free mode is possible like that. And like you can literally like, you can like duck your head under the desk and stuff. And it'll work. You can see under the table, and so there is free mode. You just need an open playing space. That's all.
Basically, even without teleportation, just moving around the train, that can be great. But overall, beautiful, low poly visuals. Maybe I wanted more details there to exist, but it's still beautiful.
I'll comment on that again. He said it was beautiful, and thanks to Daniel Polygon Mind for that. I did set the stage and set the lighting, and I did assemble the assets together. And there's like 20 something random like tiles that can be generated, and they come in all random orders. So essentially, you could ride the train for like 40 minutes or something before you really feel like you're like super sick of seeing all the combinations of everything. And so what he said about more detail. I have early video. I'm probably going to be too lazy to dig it out of the archives, but I do have early dev video captures of this where, dude, I had so much more detail in here. I had a full day-night skybox system. I had clouds. And a moon and a sun, and the day-night cycle would change, and you would look out the window and there'd be like misty clouds, and it was so cool. And I had that like within the first like month of building this, I already had it looking that way. But the thing is, my guy, to get approved to release on all these platforms, especially we're talking Oculus Go, so we're talking way back in the day. they've sunset Oculus Go. It doesn't even exist anymore. Um, to be allowed to get a listing, and then Google Daydream is the other one that doesn't exist anymore. To get approved for your listing, the VR app has to run for 20 minutes without overheating the headset. And when I had all those details in, despite all my optimizations, it would overheat the headset in maybe like 11 minutes or 10 minutes, which to me, I didn't think that's a problem. Like, I think most people would get out of this app in under 10 minutes, like the point of this app. Like, I think 5 to 10 minutes is what I was targeting. But the only way I had to keep stripping things out. Like, for instance, when you were on the back deck there and you were looking at the mountain, you noticed one time the terrain like flickered out of view. That was an optimization I had to make to render less geometry on the screen at one time. And so like I said, in the original version on my dev computer, had the full day night cycle. I had real-time lighting, which I still was able to save somehow. But I had it so you could look miles. You could go out on top of the train and you could see for like miles up to the mountains. You could see the treetops and stuff. But I had to pare that way down. I had to go from miles down to like maybe like 1 mile. You could see like almost a mile in like both directions added together. And that was an optimization I had to make to even allow this thing to even be possible to run on the hardware of the time. I agree. I wish there was more detail, and I tried to do that, but it is what it is. It had to be what it is. And then he shows the comparison here where pulling up to this village with the guardrails, and it reminds him of this in real life shot here. I think he said Switzerland is where it was, right here. And it does. It totally looks the same. That was a bus, though, I think, not a train. That looks a little similar to the app, too, except more industrial version. But the colors and the vibe, like... So, Spooky Fairy VR, like, this dude totally got it. And I'm not going to say that this alone makes it entirely worth the effort I put into this. I put, like, thousands of hours into building this app. And it got completely, it was as if it never happened. Like, nobody ever saw the app. It never created any attention. Nobody commented on it anywhere. We got this one beautiful gracious video review from SpookyFairyVR, and it just went unseen. So I think about something like 2,000 people in the world ever across every VR platform have like found and played this game. And I could go into a whole nother video about why it happened that way. But in short, it had to do with, it was targeting Daydream and Oculus Go initially. And then both of those platforms within very short succession of each other, they just offed themselves. They got canned. And so with it, my app got canned and nobody ever got to see it. Like I released it and the platform got canned immediately. So that's why that happened. I still have the code. It's totally would be possible to resurrect this for Steam VR. And I even tried to do it once, but I ran out of time. So you may see another reincarnation of this one day. I have plans to do a 360 YouTube video of Bermeo Heights Express using a Unity plugin where it'll render it in 360 and you can move the YouTube player around. So I'll probably do that soon. But if you haven't checked it out, it's SideQuest VR Bermeo Heights. So take your quest, go on SideQuest VR, sign up for SideQuest. It's a little app that you install, and then go to Bermeo Heights Express. It's for free. And I want you to try that if you have a Quest. And we got a pretty good rating, over 4 stars. We got some comments. There's Spooky Fairy. Once again, thanks, man. You're the man. Glad you appreciate it. He alone almost makes it worth the effort that I put in. And I'm glad somebody liked it. And that's Bermeo Heights Express. Hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, we'll probably revisit it one day. We'll probably have some kind of browser situation. But yeah, my time is in a very high demand right now. So probably not for a while. But in a year or two, we're probably going to get back to this thing. So thanks for watching. Thanks for the review. See you later. Subscribe.